Hi everyone, I've got a lovely little quickish project for you today using the Jar of Flowers stamp set from Stampin' Up. Now this stamp set is on page 12 of our current annual catalogue, and it's kind of part of this suite, so flowers for every season. And on page 10 you can see some samples that they've done, and the colourways that they've used are the in colours, which are Cinnamon Cider, Just Jade, Magenta Madness, which is the new bright pink, and Misty Moonlight. There is a punch to punch out the jars, but there are no dies as such to cut out the flowers, but they're relatively easy shapes that you could quite easily fussy cut these, or if you've got a ScanNCut you could use that. And it's a reversible stamp set, so one side of the photopolymer stamp stamps the details, like the detail of the mason jar like shown here, but then you can turn it over and you can get a solid section as well, and then they're the same for like the smaller jar or the bit that you could use as water. There's a lid for your mason jar. I think this is meant to be straws. You've got the stalks for the flowers, and then the four main elements of the flowers, which to me are seasonal. If you follow me on Instagram, you may see a card I made using this set recently, and that colourway was done in Real Red and Pool Party. And I used a bumblebee, I think it was, or So Saffron, I can't remember, as a background for the card, the actual kind of deep yellowy colour. I've not made a sample of this one up, but the colours that I'm going to use for this are Old Olive, Mint Macaron, Seaside Spray, Rococo Rose and Petal Pink. They're the colours I'm going to colour the flowers in with. The supplies that you will need are a piece of thick Whisper White, which I've cut in half on the short side. So this gives me a top opening card, which is 4 1/8 by 11 3/4. A piece of Whisper White as a matting layer, which is 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. You're going to need a piece of Petal Pink scrap for the jar and a piece of scrap to stamp the flower, which I've already done ahead of time to save some time. So this is my white matting layer, and I'm going to bring in Petal Pink ink. And I've got one of these cheap oval makeup brushes, which I just got off eBay. I've got a couple of them and I kind of use them for different colours. I'm just going to pick up some of the Petal Pink ink from my ink pad. And then I'm just going to start lightly blending around this piece of white card, just to add a bit of colour, just to take a little bit of the edge off. It's going to be very subtle because Pool Party is a nice light colour, and I'm just kind of concentrating it in the middle main section, not necessarily going out near the areas. It will add a little bit of colour to the plain white card, but it will also give a little bit of grounding when I put the jar onto the card. I'm going to bring in my shimmer spray, which I made, and I'm just going to lightly spray this piece of card to add some shimmer, and I'm going to wait for that to dry. Now I don't know how well you'll see the shimmer. I'll try and zoom in. You might just be able to catch the glistening of the shimmer in the light. It's very, very subtle, just adds a lovely little effect to the background. So while that's drying, I'm going to bring in the flowers and I'm going to start to do my colouring. Now these are all the light blends. If you don't know about our Stampin' Up blends, there are alcohol markers. You used to be able to buy them individually in a light and a dark, but now you have to buy them in a combo pack, so you get one light, one dark of each colour. But I'm using the lights. So I've got my old olive. I'm just going to colour in these leaves. This is not going to take very long at all, but it will just give me some time to let that shimmer spray dry on that piece of Whisper White card. So I'm just going to do the leaves in the old olive. I'm going to do this main flower and this flower in petal pink. So I'm going to use the brush tip end because I'll get more coverage quicker. And I'm not doing necessarily any shading. I am literally just colouring. Obviously, if you want to spend some time and do some shading, then, you know, you just go back either with your dark and work the two together, or you can even make, if just using a light blend, you can make a colour darker by going over it, you know, and giving it a second coat, or concentrate some colour in a particular area. So that's the petal pink. I'm going to do Seaside Spray now on this flower here. And I actually think that this is a really nice colour combination. Petal pink to me is more on the corally side of pink than the pinks. When I think of our pinks, I think of, you know, Flirty Flamingo, Rococo Rose, Melon Mambo, that kind of thing. Magenta Madness, our new bright pink. But when I look at petal pink, to me it's more on the coral side of the pinks, but I think it goes nice with this colour combination. So I'm just going to colour these kind of bud type flowers here in the Seaside Spray to match that big flower. Then I'm going to bring in the mint macaron and I'm going to colour these leaves here, which I'm not sure what they are. And then just for a pop of colour, but not too much, I'm going to use the Rococo Rose and just colour in these little berries. So that's how it's looking now. So it's just going to be a case of assembling now. So I'm going to bring in my base card, which, as I say, is Whisper White. This is dry now. And again, as I say, I'm not sure how well you're going to see the sparkle, but it is there. There's some lovely shimmery sparkle. I'm going to... So this is going to be stuck directly on the front of my base card. So it's white on white, but it, as I say, has got that subtle petal pink in the background. Now, I'm not going to put my greeting on just yet because I'm thinking I don't know whether to put my greeting at the bottom or at the side. I think on the card I did that I posted on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, I think I put it on the side, but I'm going to position the flower and the vase first. I'm going to pop the vase up onto some dimensionals. And because I've got that little bit of petal pink in the background, it kind of gives the vase a bit of grounding. And then I'm going to do the same with this. I'm just going to stick dimensionals up near the top because I'm going to slightly overlap it over the top of the mason jar. So I'm going to position that like so. I think I will put my greeting along the bottom. So for my greeting, I'm using Happy Birthday from the Little Ladybug, which is a retired stamp set. But this font is just such a nice font that I, use this quite a bit. So I'm just going to position that down at the bottom, just doing this in Memento Tuxedo Black. And then I'm going to bring in some dimensionals, and I'll just do a scattering of our basic gems, I think. And then just one last thing, I'm going to bring in some ribbon. This is our denim 3/8 ribbon. And I'm just going to tie a bow and see how how that looks on here against the blues. And I think I'll stick that there. And for that, I'm going to use glue dots. So we'll put that there. And then I'm just going to trim the tails on this ribbon again. I think that's lovely. I love the colours. I love the shimmer in the background from the spritzer, and the pool party for the jar picks up with the flowers. The blue ribbon, I know it's a darker blue, but that picks up for the blue flowers. And I think that's a lovely birthday card, I really do. So have a look at it in the catalogue. I just think it's a pretty set. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.